pockets. I checked my purse. I checked on top of my head where my glasses are sometimes. I literally, this house couldn't really be any cleaner than it is right now. And I couldn't find, I had to walk around for 5 minutes to find the computer I had been working on for 3 hours before I joined this
Where
call.
was it?
Well, it fell off the armrest of the couch on the patio and slid in between the two couches out there. So, sneaky little sucker.
That's sneaky. Little
If
sucker.
it would have been a snake, it wouldn't have bitten me because I would have just run away because I hate snakes.
Yeah. Snakes are nasty.
Snakes
I'm glad you
are
found it
nasty.
because I'm
Found it.
excited to podcast with you today, Amanda.
You know, we watched an intense one. You have kind of outdone yourself on choosing what I would say are some of it's like the most intense month that we have had of shows, as far as my Fitbit showing a little bit of an elevated heart rate during this time. My brain and my heart showing some anxiety and heart rate. I mean, it is whoo, whoo.
Yeah.
That's all I can
Yeah.
say.
Well, before we get into clapping, I do want to say that this will be our first episode without our producer, Whiskey the dog.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. He lived a wonderful life. He helped get this podcast off the ground. I know he is greatly missed by us who love him, and also by our listeners who, will be listening for his water licks and collar jingles. And it's going to be a tough one, but we're grateful for all that he's given us.
Yeah. R.I.P. Sweet boy.
Sweet, sweet boy. Do you want me to count down? And I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But we had to say, we have to acknowledge it, I think.
Yeah.
Too.
13 years, you had a good run.
Yeah.
All right. Let's pivot.
I'm going to count down.
Because nobody's here to watch me cry on a podcast.
Well,
if you're listening, you can come see. Yeah.
Whiskey would want us to clap and sing and discuss a show that he probably would have barked at a lot.
It's such a part of his routine. He did get to finish Runaway with me. Did he finish Runaway? No, we didn't get to finish Runaway together, I don't think.
I'm sure he would have had some thoughts.
Yeah. The only show he really, honestly, before we clap, just despised was The Americans, which we've talked about before. He did not like The Americans. And a lot of people don't right now. In other countries.
He was kind of foreshadowing.
Yeah, he was.
I always thought Whiskey was probably Irish or some sort of European because of the way his name was spelled. So, probably was like, what's with this? What's a whole show about this?
Yeah.
So.
All right. I'll let you clap since you're going to brief this show.
Here we go. 3, 1, 2, 3. 3, 1, 2, 3.
3, 1,
Okay.
1, 2, 2, 3. Maggie.
3, 1, 1, 2. Yes.
Okay. Let's hear your brief first, and then we have to ask the hard-hitting questions up top. So let's brief it.
Okay, great.
By we, I say you, the royal we.
Me.
Yes.
Improvised brief. Speaking of royal we, Runaway, the Netflix thriller show, features lots of Brits and accents and twists and turns. Following Simon, an Irishman, rich financier guy who has a daughter. His eldest daughter has addiction issues and has kind of run away, essentially. It follows him trying to track her down. And boy, howdy, who, do we go all over the map. Murders for hire, cults, deception, PIs, murder again, more murder, detectives with affairs. It hits everything that you could ever possibly want in a thriller, detective-y show. Runaway ran away with my heart. And that's my brief.
That's excellent. And the great thing about technology is that I was able to hear that entire brief. Oh, now you're back. But you were just a pixelated blob when I was watching you. But I could hear it. It wasn't delayed.
Oh,
And
good.
now your face is unpixelated. So maybe that's part of, you know, it's kind of like you being a
The show.
PI, a little bit private. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the show was like all these different pixels, and they kind of came together
Yeah.
for
So it's kind of
us.
like you were doing that for us. So, first question, Maggie, or first two questions. Did you like it? And what did you know about it going into it?
I did like it. I thought, honestly, I didn't think I was going to like it when I watched the first episode because I thought it was a little dramatic, a little hokey, right? Excuse me. So it's based on a novel by Harlan Cohen, I believe. And it felt very novelly. Like it was like this is a page turner novel. And I thought it was a little hokey at first. Ultimately, I got sucked in and I was page turning with the yes, I'm still watching Netflix button. Did you
And
like it?
what did you know about it?
I mean, I knew nothing. I literally knew nothing. I was like, oh, they have accents.
Okay.
That's all I knew. I knew zero, other than it was something that the internet was saying was something to watch.
I echo all your sentiments. I knew absolutely nothing, and I really, really liked it. I also didn't like it at the beginning because it was like, well, we've got a runaway daughter, we've got drugs, we've got all. I was like, I don't know if I can watch this, if this is also like kids being hurt, or I was like, I can't do that. I think we've talked about this, like when you hear about stories about parents doing things to their kids, and I'm like, ugh. I didn't think that was what this would be, but I just thought, ooh, I don't know if I'm gonna watch this one. And man, they got me. And
When did you get got by it?
well, I finally really loved it at the very last 2 minutes. You know?
Really, just the last 2 minutes?
Well, it, oh gosh. Yeah. I mean, I really liked it, but then at the end, I was like, dang, that ending I have thought about multiple times a day since I finished that show. Partly
Okay,
because I've
well,
needed a distraction over the past few days. So I'm like, anytime I think about Whiskey, the producer dog, I'm like, think about a TV show instead.
you know what? Instead, think about the ending to
yeah.
Runaway.
Okay. Why don't you give the listeners a rundown? Because you do such a nice job of quickly, you did part of that in the brief, but giving them like a 2 minute spiel about what this is about. And then we can ask some questions. And then I have some depots for you.
Okay, great.
They're going to be tough.
Okay, so yeah, I'm sure depots will be very difficult. Okay, Paige is Simon's daughter. She goes away to university. She ends up addicted to drugs, and that's all we really know, right? He's trying to find her. He's kind of putting his other two kids on the sideline, trying to find, like his whole life is uprooted, trying to find Paige and bring her back. Ultimately, we see flashes of some things. There's a private investigator named Elena, and she's
Elena.
looking for a missing guy too. That's kind of connected because all these people who are getting murdered by this gun for hire Ash, he's killing all these people because they're all adopted through this illegal adoption ring. They're the sons of a cult leader. And so
And they're
in
all
order
half
to not have
brothers.
they're all half brothers because this cult leader has a lot of children but only two male heirs, and when he dies he doesn't want these biological kids to come and try and claim his cult, so he's killing them. That's something. Everyone kind of thinks Simon is involved because Paige's boyfriend gets murdered, but he also was one of the kids of the cult, and everyone kind of thinks Simon did it. Ultimately they're like, no, never mind. But Simon and his wife go to try and uncover this body. She gets shot by a drug dealer, and she's in the hospital. She might be having an affair with a doctor. We don't know. It's all this like, holy bajolies. The private investigator gets murdered. Simon almost gets killed. In the very end, Amanda, why don't you bring home the very end that you can't stop thinking about? Just because we're going to spoil this, it's worth the watch. It's worth the watch. But
I'm
where
going to
does
bring, yeah, this is a spoilers pod. I'm going to bring it home and I'm going to say something first before I bring it home. So I'm going to hover around the home first
okay.
and say, when a show, sorry, when a show kind of wraps up or you think it's wrapped up at the very end of the next to last episode or the beginning of the last episode, and you click down there because I was watching this in bed and you see you've still got 42 minutes left, you know that this show is not wrapped up. And so we knew that this show was not wrapped up. And we find out in the last episode so much stuff. Namely, we find out that Aaron, who was Paige's boyfriend, was not actually her boyfriend. Since he was one of the sons from the cult and a half brother to all of these, we find out that Paige and Aaron are half brother and sister because they found each other on a DNA website, and which is crazy because that means that Aaron, who was murdered, and we thought was murdered by these people that were, guns for hire, was not actually, he was not murdered by them. Aaron is the son of Paige's mother, Ingrid. Ingrid, when she found out that Aaron hit Paige and Paige came home and ran to her mother and said, he hit me, Ingrid said, absolutely not. And she went to their apartment and she murdered Aaron. And so we find out in the last few minutes, she murdered her son. Her son she thought was stillborn and did not know existed. She was told, your baby was stillborn. We're so sorry. And so she never knew that she had this son. And then she murdered him. And only Paige and her father know that Ingrid murdered her son. And they swore that they would, well, Paige says, you can't tell mom. She'll never be able to get over this. And Simon says, no, we're not doing any more secrets. We're being completely transparent with each other. And then at the very end, they're sitting around the dinner table and they're all kind of laughing and they're happy because Paige is home. She's clean. Aaron is no longer in the picture because Ingrid thinks he's a bad guy, not knowing that that was her son.
No,
And
she
then
knows it was her son.
Ingrid does not know it was her son.
Ingrid doesn't know that it was her son?
No.
I
Ingrid
thought
doesn't know.
Ingrid- Oh. Only Paige knows all the information.
Well, and Simon now.
Yeah.
That's why in that
Okay,
last little
okay.
scene when they're sitting out on the patio at their house and Paige says, you can't tell mom.
That was her son.
Because Ingrid had the baby at the cult. She was part of the cult in her, when she was like a teenager or early 20s. She had the baby and they told her your baby was stillborn. So he does not, we're going to bury him. So she never knew that he actually was alive and went on to live a life. And so
I thought she found out that, okay.
No, Ingrid never knew. So that was the ending, is at the very end, Paige says to Simon, Dad, you can't tell mom. This has to be between us. And then when they're sitting around the table and then the camera zooms in on Simon, he looks over at Ingrid and he looks over at Paige. And then it's just him and his eyes get really big. And then you have to wonder, does he ever tell
Is he going
Ingrid?
to spill the beans?
Does he tell Ingrid or not?
Okay. I thought it was a sinister ending, but I'm a dodo bird. And I thought that Ingrid was more sinister. I thought
No.
she was like, I'm going to kill my son to save my daughter. But she
No,
didn't even
she does not know it was her son. She didn't know she
my
had a son.
God.
She thought he was stillborn.
Dang. I thought that she found out, but I'm mixing her up with the other woman who knew that her stillborn son was alive and was going to
Yes.
get murdered.
Yes.
The other woman from the cult. I'm mixing those storylines up. Oh my God. That made me feel much better about Ingrid because I was like, holy majoli, Ingrid is played by Minnie Driver. And I was like, what a crazy murderer.
No.
Can't
She
trust
did
her at
not
all.
know.
But she was just saving. She is still a murderer.
She's a murderer of her son, but she does not know she murdered her son. She just knows she murdered this kid named Aaron
Some guy.
who was hurting her daughter.
Dang. Do you think that changes it, that it's her son? Or do you think it's like, is it worse or is it horrendous either way? same level of
horrend-
horror.
It's horrendous either way. And my debo for you is, and this is a tough one, and we can edit it if you don't want to. What if you had a son that you didn't know existed? Like you thought he was stillborn. I mean, you would know he was born,
Right.
but he was stillborn, and then you murdered him. Would you want to know?
This is a question that only makes sense in the context of this show. I would not want to know. I would not want to know. I don't want to know more information. Okay, first of all, disclaimer. I'm not going to murder anyone, okay? Don't
think
ever
we all
play
know
this in
that.
a court.
I think we all
could
know
not.
that.
Thank you. Thank you
But
very
we
much.
talked about this. This is different than like an office heist.
No. Yeah, office heist I could barely do.
Yeah.
This I could never. But in this scenario, I think I want to know the least information about the person that I'm murdering. I don't want to know like what their favorite color is. I don't want to know what they were like as a kid. I don't want to know like if they loved their mother. Well, it would
Yeah.
be me. But I don't want to know any of that. If I had to murder someone, I would just want to be like, the only thing I know about them is I gotta kill them.
Yeah.
Do you agree? Or would you want to know because you're someone with like who likes to know information?
I don't want to know that. I would not want to know that. I guess the other question here is how would you feel if Kyle knew and he didn't tell you that you had murdered your son?
Well, that's like, yeah, that's this whole thing is like, gosh, Simon is on this quest the entire time to get to the truth, right? Like, I want to know the truth, which is kind of the same as the steal. Like, I want to know why. I want to know
Yeah.
that. Why did this happen? I gotta know. And it's like sometimes you shouldn't know. Sometimes it's like you just gotta not know that,
Yeah.
and you gotta forget you know something, and you gotta ignore things.
I can't believe you thought she knew. That's why I was
thought-
like
'cause-
that ending because I had texted you. I was like the ending, and then the next day I texted you again and said I can't. I was thinking about today, this ending of Runaway, and can't wait for you to watch it because dang.
I thought when it was revealed that she was in the cult, I immediately didn't trust her at all. Like, I immediately was like, she knows more information. Because I thought Paige had gone to her and been like, Aaron is my brother. And then she was just playing along that Aaron was her boyfriend because she didn't want Simon to know that Aaron was her son. Like, I thought that she was fully in the loop from Paige and that Paige had, like, disclosed to her, like, I found out you had a son. That's my brother. Didn't they have a fight about that? No? They just fought about the drugs and then Paige stole her jewelry? Yeah, I just filled in a lot of blanks, as I'm wont to do.
That's okay. But does it
I
change
don't need
it
to
for
go
you?
digging for the truth. I'll just invent it.
Well, to be fair, I don't know if I fell asleep during this one part, but I woke, like all of a sudden, I'm just looking at the screen and Elena Ravenscroft, by the way, what a name for a private investigator, is dead.
So good.
So I didn't see
Yeah.
the
Oh,
murdering
yeah.
of her.
Oh, do you want to know how it happened?
Yeah, I must have just like, if I drink that little
No, I get
magnesium
it.
drink of mine, I'm like, seriously, if Moon Brew wants to sponsor us, you guys, you know what? Hang on. You want me to get some Moon Brew and just show it here on the screen?
Yeah, I want to see what moon brew is.
Okay.
Look at some moon brew. It's daytime, but let's look at the moon. Does it come in a can? Is it a can of stir? Do you mix it with water? Show me
Mix it with
I
water.
gotta
You can
see.
also mix it with milk if you want. This is the old packaging. They have new packaging. So here we go.
Oh,
Okay.
nighttime superfoods.
And you can get different flavors.
cute.
So you can get like I think a tropical like hot tea or whatever if you want. This is the hot cocoa, and
yum.
it's it's quite excellent, and it improves sleep quality. It enhances deep and REM sleep. No morning grogginess, calming and soothing, relaxes and refreshes. You take it 1 to 2 hours before you plan to go to bed. And so typically I take it as I'm like winding down to watch TV because I usually watch TV at night. Pause. Edit.
Yeah.
I usually watch TV at night. And so I take that. So sometimes if the moon brew gets a hold of me, I might, and then like wake up real quick. So I woke up and all of a sudden Elena was dead. But I don't remember that happening. I'm like, well, maybe they just wanted to show us,
Here's
tell
what
us how it
happened.
happened. I hear how it
Okay.
happened.
So she's kind of putting the pieces together that all these people that are murdered were adopted through the same agency. And she finds she tracks down the agent who was putting all these boys up for adoption, again, illegally. But then that agent goes kind of missing, and so she connects with that woman who was putting the boys up illegally for adoption. She connects with her girlfriend, or she thinks she connects with her girlfriend, but she's really connecting with this girl, Dee Dee, or Holly, who is from the cult and is one of the guns for hires. And Dee Dee impersonates this girlfriend, takes Elena Ravencroft off to this deserted cabin, walks her through the cabin like, oh yeah, she'll be out in a minute, takes her onto a drop cloth, because this is like an Airbnb cabin, right? And she walks her right onto a drop cloth. Elena looks down and she's like, oh shit, this drop cloth's here because I'm about to get drop shot. Okay, she turns around. She sees Ash, the man murderer, and he's got the gun pointed at her. And she just looks right back away from him, and she just kind of smiles, because at this point, her husband's dead. She thought her husband had this illegitimate child, but she's learned the truth that the illegitimate child was basically a sperm donation. So she's at peace with that. She's back in love with him and like thinks good about him. And she's like, I guess this is how I go. And boom, shoot her in the back of the head. Then they just take the cloth, drag her outside, bury her at the Airbnb.
Okay.
That whole part?
I missed all that.
Dang. How did you know she was dead?
Because the next episode, they're burying her.
Oh, yeah.
And then they are, and then the texts are coming through from Simon, and
Dee Dee's
they're
responding.
answering, and Dee Dee's responding, and that's when Simon's like, well, that's not the way you would respond. And also Lou, which was her, I guess, her mother-in-law. Yeah, and also worked for her. Couldn't find her, couldn't track, like all of that, and hadn't heard from her.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's where I picked
It's
up. That's
kinda
where
like-
that's where the Moon Brew snapped me out. So it's not foolproof, you guys.
You know what? This is interesting that we both had these gaps in our understanding of the show, or like gaps in seeing the show, and yet both still found it incredible.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you're in a conversation with someone and all of a sudden they throw out some kind of reference and you're like, I don't even know. I don't know what you're talking about, or I haven't seen that news story, or I don't know geography. Where is that country? And you're like, oh yeah. And you just keep nodding. And you try to add something just enough to sound like you know what you're talking about, though you're secretly terrified somebody's going to say, do you know where Brazil is?
Belize is.
Yeah. Brazil, Belize. Tomato.
I'd be like, oh yeah, I can't believe it.
Yeah.
That's
And
what I
then
would say.
completely.
like something
yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh my gosh, she's so worldly that she can make a joke about Belize.
Yeah. Brazilian. Oh, are we talking about waxes? You know, that's what I would do. It's Brazil. So,
Yeah.
it's that kind of scenario where you're like, ooh, this all still makes sense, but there's like still a little bit of a gap, but I'm going to nod along and power through this random party or networking event I'm at.
Yeah. I'm going to fill in the gaps myself too. I'm not going to ask any questions. I'm not going to try and learn about it. I'm just going to glaze over it.
Glaze
and
over this.
continue on my merry way, thinking what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I like that.
I
mean,
think that's the way to live your life. Otherwise, you end up in hairy situations like Simon. You know, you end
my
up in
gosh,
seedy
right?
hotels. You end up in
Yeah.
dark basements. You end up giving away tens of thousands of pounds of money to people. To do what? To find out your wife had a son that she murdered?
yeah.
No, thank you.
No thanks.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Wait, I have another.
Would you pay
depot
tens of
for you.
thousands of pounds? Wait, go.
No, ask me. No, depot me. It's okay.
Would you pay tens of thousands of dollars for information from someone who you don't even know, like if they're a reliable source? How are you getting money out of people? How are you getting information out of people? Money? Woo? What are you doing?
Well, I think we need a little more context here. Like, what kind of information? Because if it's
Okay,
something
someone
like
steals
this,
me. I'm
someone
missing.
steals
Me.
you at all
Or I don't
cost.
know.
Yeah.
I'm missing.
You, your kids? Yeah, of course. I would try to go about it honestly and plead my case and do what I sometimes do. I think about like whenever in previous roles where I've had to write people up or terminate them or give them a warning or whatever. I usually start with, okay, what would you do if you were me in my situation? And try to let them see, because oftentimes they give themselves like a bigger punishment or they're able to really reflect. So I would kind of try that angle and say, hey, if you were in my situation, wouldn't you be doing anything possible to try and save these people and to find the people that you love? And that's all I'm asking for, is for you to consider how this would be if the tables were turned and what you would be doing. And I would do my best to not have to drain the bank account, because I feel like I would need the bank account for other for other things,
Yeah.
right?
For therapy, once I get found, you need
Sure,
to
for
help
therapy.
me, you know?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about my therapy. No, for sure, for your therapy.
I'm the one who's been stolen.
You're gonna need some therapy.
I'm gonna need it, Amanda. You're
gonna
need
need
to
it.
help me.
So, so that's what I would try. But then if I needed to, I would do everything I could to, I drain the account. You can always make more money. So,
Yeah. You know why I kind of was also just sorry. I have something that just made me think about.
yeah.
So like Simon's out doing whatever's possible. The reason I was also suspicious of Ingrid, his wife, who had this illegitimate or this cult child that she didn't know about. I was suspicious of her, and that's why I thought she knew it was his son. He was her son, because right after he's murdered, she's like, Simon, we got to go to the crime scene. And he's like, that's a horrible idea, right? And she like makes him go to the crime scene with her. And I think now she was making him go so that it's like, oh, well, we were at the crime scene. So if you see any of my DNA or anything, like that's why. Because we went back.
Ooh, yeah.
Maybe. But ultimately that's what gets her shot, is returning to the scene of the crime. But I was just like so suspicious of her immediately for making him do that. I thought that was such a weird choice.
I think it's a weird choice. It's also, though, do you really know how you're going to respond to something like this? People think, oh, this is how I would respond in this situation. And until it happens to you, I don't think you know. Everybody's
That's fair.
processing it in a different way. And sometimes it comes out sideways, and sometimes it comes out with pulling back or anger or sadness or whatever. Like there's so many different ways to process this. So I didn't think much about it. Interesting call that she was putting herself back there so that her DNA would be accounted for.
Yeah. I mean, they already scrubbed the scene, but I just felt like, what is she looking for? Like the weapon? Is she looking, like, what is she doing there?
I don't know.
Because she already knows Paige isn't there. She already knows Paige is in rehab.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know.
Oh man. Okay, so I have a depo for you.
Okay.
We find out the not the private investigators, but the investigators with the police are, first of all, we find out they're a couple episodes in.
Cute.
So that's cute. They're keeping that from everybody. I mean, I guess you have to keep that. I don't know. I'm not going to talk about that. That's an HR deal. But what my question
I don't
is,
know how HR works in England.
Sure, I don't either.
I don't know.
I like it. Literally can't speak to that.
It's probably like humane resources or something. Like it's
Probably.
spelled different.
Humane.
More vowels.
Here's my depo for you. You find out that someone that you know from growing up, the dad of one of your best friends, might possibly be responsible for the murder that you're investigating. And you think that there's no way he could have done it, but if he did it because he was trying to help people and he was doing a lot of good for that community. He says his alibi is accounted for, even though it isn't. Would you falsify that if, like, let's say one of your friend's parents was possibly guilty and committed this murder? What would
Didn't
you
his
do?
friend's parent in this scenario, didn't he confess to? Like he literally said, yeah, I did it to the detective.
He said, if I did.
Oh, if I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, I feel like I'd book them.
You'd book them? You'd book your
I
parents'
feel like
friend?
I'd book them.
I mean, your friend's parent?
Yeah. I mean, no, sorry.
He
That's the
didn't.
job.
He
He didn't.
literally,
He lied.
yeah.
Would you? What'd you do? You booking them, or are you giving a little space and time, letting it
You
kind
know,
of like I'm not sure. I haven't verified it yet.
I'd probably book them and then come up with like an easier sentence if I do think that, I mean, it's still murder though. I don't know. You murdered somebody. I understand why. If they didn't do it in self-defense, it's pretty tricky.
Yeah.
If you just
Yeah.
came after somebody cold-blooded, warm-blooded, hot-blooded, whatever it was, that's hard to get. You can't skate around that one. Self-defense is different if
Yeah.
somebody's coming at you with a knife or a gun.
Right.
I'm not saying it's really the right thing to do, but what else do you do in self-defense? But this is, yeah, you just,
Intentional.
yeah,
Shoot to kill. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's kind of
Premeditated.
like,
Maybe
whoa.
not a ton of premeditating. It might have been like in the moment meditating, but still, it's different than self-defense. And holy moly, yeah, I think I'd have to book them.
I'm taking them downtown and I'm
I'm
saying,
taking them downtown,
man,
and I'm saying, I hate to do this to you.
hate to do this to you. Remember that fun time after school when you made me a nice snack? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Dang, we have a lot of good memories. Shouldn't have
So
killed
gotta,
someone.
yeah,
Shouldn't have done it.
yeah.
All signs pointing to you.
All signs point to you. But he didn't. He lied. I mean, in the end,
He
it
lied.
didn't matter
The detective
because
lied.
the detective lied. Well, also so did that guy. Like he didn't straight up confess. He just said, if I did do it.
In the end, you know why it didn't matter? Because there was so much other shit going on. They're like, wait a
It was like
second.
least of our
This
problems.
This
Truly.
isn't just a murder. This is a cult conspiracy to cover up. Like, it was like, oh, okay,
so
we're
much.
exhausted. We give
Yeah.
up. Which is honestly a great strategy. If you are going to murder someone who's involved in something that's so much bigger that it's like no one's even going to care at the end of
Like
the
a
day. 'Cause
murder?
there's so much other stuff they're going to.
That's like somebody stealing
hardly
a stick of,
know her.
Yeah. It's like somebody stealing a stick of gum from the 7-Eleven,
In comparison.
in comparison.
Okay, wait, I have another depo for you.
Yes.
There's a moment where Simon, in the very beginning, goes viral because he does see Paige. This is like episode 1, maybe episode 2. He sees Paige, his daughter, in a park. He runs after her, and her boyfriend slash brother, at the time, Aaron, like, gets in the way, and he's like, she's coming with me. Like, she doesn't belong to you. And then Simon beats the shit out of Aaron, and he gets filmed in this public park for beating up a unhoused man. And it's like, this guy is a monster because he's this really wealthy man, and why is he beating up this guy?
Mm-hmm.
How do you react in that scenario? First of all, are you like, dang, I accept responsibility? You got to understand the context? Are you ignore it? What you doing there? You're viral. You're a viral sensation.
I think that's a great question. Well, the first part of this answer is I hope that that's not what I would ever go viral for. It's also technology is so great, and it also, when taken out of context without the full picture, can be tough, right? Going viral for something, you're like, wait a minute, you're not even like, I think the way that I would respond, I would wait a day or two, before I responded. And then I would say, look, what you're seeing is wrong, and what I did was wrong. No amount of context is going to make anybody think otherwise. So I'm happy to tell my story. I also understand if nobody wants to hear it. Mm-hmm. I think that's
Not
I think that's how I'd handle it.
that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but a few days go by, and then Aaron's dead. The guy he was beating up in the park. So it's like, oh, dang. Sat on it, and now it looks like you killed him. So now you're viral for more reasons.
Yeah, I think then if I would have known he was going to be dead, I would have gotten ahead of it quicker and responded within 24 hours. I mean, you have to look.
And
here's
that's my
the thing.
defense. That's my
And
defense
that's my
in
defense.
court.
Yeah. So, hindsight, right? Look, it doesn't matter if people have the context of what was going on or what happened right before leading up to it, and what happened with Paige. Like, people are going to believe what they want to believe, and it's not your business how people, like, what people think of you. So you can do whatever you want, but if you just keep backpedaling and then making it sound like he's the bad guy and you're not in the wrong, because he is in the wrong. He shouldn't be doing that. I understand where the anger came from, but he wasn't able to manage his emotions in the right way, and it came out in a way that shouldn't have. Not saying he can't be angry and upset with Aaron, because he only knew what he knew at that time. He didn't know the rest of the story. But he shouldn't have done that. It was wrong, and he needs to admit that.
Yeah. Or just ignore it.
He could ignore it. It doesn't matter.
Just ignore it.
He does kind of just ignore it. Here's the thing,
"That's not
like,
it."
ignoring it is still going to get you attention. Making a statement is still going to get you attention. I mean, when they say
Right.
no press is bad press, I mean, this is bad press, And so there's not really, there's no way around it but through it. And so he can either just, sit around like he did, or he can make a statement, and eventually it will be in a different news cycle. But, some people may want to hear the story, maybe not. I don't know. You can't control that. You can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
What would you do? What would you do?
I think I would like really sit on, okay, what's my response going to be? What's my response going to be? And then you get murdered, and I'd be like, oh gosh, now I can't say anything because now it's going to look like I did it. And then I'd be like, oh, just ignore it, just ignore it. And then, like, before I knew it, I'm uncovering a cult, and my wife had a baby that was murdered by her own hands. And then I'd be like, oh dang. And then my daughter would be sober, and I'd be like, oh, I hardly even remember that I went viral for beating up that boy. Like, I think I would just kind of, life would get in the way of an apology
Get in the
tour.
way. Yeah, it's a stick of gum. Stick of gum.
Stick it
Well,
down.
We did it. We got through another one, Mags.
We sure did.
I've been so hungry during
And I'm
this
excited
podcast.
for what we're watching next.
Have you heard my stomach
yeah?
growling? I'm excited to hear it
No.
in post, to see if you can hear, because when your stomach growls, it's like it's hungry and the lining's pushing together. Apparently, it's like, where's the food for us to go? And there's nothing for it to go.
Did you purposefully not eat before the podcast so that you could drop this fact about the stomach lining and what it's doing when it's making the grumble? Because you learned it this week and you were like, this is a really interesting fact. I got to share it on the podcast. And the only way I could share it on the podcast is if I don't eat, so my stomach grumbles. And then it's a natural transition into talking about the stomach lining and how it works and creates the rumble.
I think I learned about this in elementary school.
Oh,
I have known about the stomach lining maybe longer than you've even been alive. I might have learned about it before you were born. I have literally have known that.
Dang.
And there's nothing in there. The thing is, though, I did have a cup of oatmeal. I just got up kind of early today to get some stuff done. And so it was early. And so I think the stomach already went with the oatmeal, and I didn't have any protein for it to stick. And so it's like, and then we get on this podcast, and then it's like, and it's been grumbling. Every day I'm grumbling. What a great bit to end on. Hey, look, we've got some stuff coming up next week that we're going to watch. I'm going to let you tell them, because I'm going to record a little teaser for it, let people know what's up.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
All
right?
Yeah,
we
next
have a
week
few
we're going to
things we're
watch
watching.
actually. Yeah, we're going to take a break from binging, and we're going to watch the pilots to two shows highly anticipated: Rooster
Yes.
and Imperfect Women.
Yes.
Spoiler: I have started Rooster. I'm actually
And?
on episode 3.
What do you
I like
think?
it. I really
You
like
do?
it.
Great.
I think it's a great show.
Did you hear that?
Ted Lasso adjacent.
Ted Lasso
I didn't
adjacent.
hear that.
Ted Lasso adjacent. We love to see it. I'm excited about both of these. Also, I think we both probably need a little bit of a break, because we've been binging hard, and our little hearts and minds and bodies need to
Yeah.
recover from it. Yeah, I'm excited.
Time to take a little rest day.
And before we sign off, I do want to say this. We would love a review. And I'm not going to try and pull at your
Yeah.
heartstrings because we had to say goodbye to Whiskey, the producer dog. But if you haven't left a review for us, why don't you leave one for Whiskey, the producer dog? Because he was a huge part of the show if you've been listening. And I will definitely miss him having to make us pause for minutes at a time so that he could drink as if I had never given him any water in his life. And just randomly barking. Just when the moment was right in the podcast, he would really be able to break that tension. So we're going to miss him. I already miss him dearly. So if leaving a review for us is too hard, please do it for my dog, Whiskey, the producer dog. Thanks so much for tuning in. You can check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere else you get your podcast. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a review.
And if you don't know what to say in your review, say, "This one's for Whiskey."
That's it.
Bye.